Hello, welcome to filmycg.net. In this tutorial, we are going to create some more static water droplets for the glass bottles we already created. And this is the scene file we already created in earlier tutorials. If you missed those parts, just go to uh, my YouTube channel, youtube.com/cg. You can see there is a lot of tutorials here. Just go to the video sections and you can find all these like a particle sensing, fluid effects, adding static water in blender simulation, and several tutorials here: how to render a glass bottle, how to model. Just watch this and create this. Or if you want the scene file, just go to filmycg.net. You can get all these scene file free of cost. Just go to here, or if you doesn't get the link, just go to free downloads, 3D mesh, and you can see a lot of 3D mesh are displayed here. I'm already adding more, and you can just download the scene file itself, and you can see water filling bottle, blender free, and glass bottle studio lighting. Just go to glass bottle studio lighting, blender scene download, and you need to download this file first. In order to get the download link, you need to do any one of these buttons. You need to share it in Facebook, or tweet it in Twitter, or link share at Google Plus. Share it. That code will be unlocked and you will get the download section, and you need to download this. And in the blender file, and this is the scene file. If you doesn't get this texture, just reload it here. From that, click on that, and maybe in the click that, and in the material section you need to reload from here. Just go to that and just reload the texture. So we are going to create the static wardrobe. In order to get that, I'm going to use only one bottle here. So maybe we can just use any one of these. I think I will be using this red one. So just move all these to, just go to move all these to another layer. This also to this, and this to this. Also 3, have something 3, and this also in 3. Okay, so we have just only one bottle, and we have some water inside that. Maybe you can just, I'm just going to smooth here. In the render mode, you can see this will take some time because I'm just using a custom build. And here you cannot see any water droplets here, only just bottle and this water. I just reduced the viewport display, so import sample, so it will be get faster update. And we need to add the water droplets. And sorry for describing about and every time someone commented that I'm just using and so many times, so I'm just avoiding that word for now. Select this. For that we need to get some water droplets. So just go to solid, select any of the empty layer. So I'm just using the second one. Add a mesh named UV sphere. So we have a UV sphere. You can just rename it to water droplets. Here you can see I just reduced the segments to 16 into 16. If you see in the default it will be 32, so you need to just, if you want, you can just use that 32 itself, but I am just using 16 in order to reduce the load. And you can see there are several options here: align to view and location, everything is here. If you have placed your 3D cursor away from that, you need to freeze this transformation. So in order to that, you just use the location, just freeze it to the 000, and rotation also, and just use a smooth shading, and that will smoothen our sphere. And also I'm going to use this will be in the X rotation, and that I will show you later, because in order to get the dynamics instancing work, everything should be pointed in the X axis. So let me do it later. And I'm just going to use one more settings here in the object panel. I'm just using draw or edges and also wireframe, so that will give the idea of that vertices or the edges of this sphere. And this is our water droplets. You need to add a material to this, so I'm just using the default materials water. You will get this with the download scene. If you don't, you need to create the water material. So this is the water material. I just apply to it, and back to, sorry for saying again, and going back to the first scene layer. Here is our glass bottle plus the water inside. So select the glass bottle. I'm just going to move it to another layer, press M and move it to third layer, so we have it in another layer. In the object panel, select wire, so and draw or adjust, so we can see what is happening inside that. I'm just going to shift select the first scene, also press Z or Z to see what's happening. So maybe in the solid mode you cannot see anything, just in the rendered mode, see we have water section is up to here, so we will be filling the water droplets to up to here. We can just use this outer glass section also, or you can just use another mesh or anything like to create that water droplets. So there are several ways to achieve this. I'm just going to a simpler way to get this work. So in the wireframe view, for the third section, we need to split this bottle into up to this image area, so we can just add water droplets up to this much area. This is very simple area, simple tutorials or simple method. You can just select these much faces and what you call it, to separate it and use that for the dynamic section. So I'm just going to create another mesh from this. So in the edit mode, also make sure you are in the wireframe, press Z and press the in the orthographic view, press B and select this much area. I think this much area, not the bottom area, like this. So that will be selected. You can use edge or face mode. I think the face mode is the better option. Just use the face mode. We have selected the mesh, which section we need to separate it, but the main problem is that now it's selected inside and the outside mesh, but we can just do it later. So press Shift D, so that will duplicate this much section like this. Press right click or just make it shoot back to that, and press P for duplicate and just use selection. That will duplicate it into another area. So we have duplicated the object, and also press again P and just once again use by loose part that will separate the mesh from itself. So go back to object mode. See, now we have two separate mesh like this. Select that, press M again and just move it to another layer named fourth layer. So we have the fourth layer, and see what's happening. Press Z and you can see now we have two objects like this. Not two objects, just two walls for insert mesh. In order to get this separated, we can just use another thing. Just press tab for object mode, go to mesh face selection, select this insert face, press delete face, or so that will delete the inner face. If you accidentally select the outer area also, you can just delete that area. We have two separate, not two separate, just join two walls of the water bottle or the glass bottle. We need to separate that. In order to get that, simply go to any select. Don't need to select anything, just in the edit mode press P again, just use by loose part. That will separate your object into two, and in object mode you can get two separate objects. We don't need the insert mesh, so delete that. So we have the outer bottle, you can just rename it to bottle outer, and sorry for again saying and just we have to add the particle section to this. In order to get that, just select the particle sections here with the particle tab, press this plus button and you will get a particle system. Just rename it to water droplets, press enter and just play the scene. Now you can see a lot of particles dropping like this, and we don't need any dropping particles like this because we are just using the static mesh. In order to get a better control for the particles, we are just using, I'm just using hair, and that will add some hair to this, and we can discuss the hair settings later. Now we are going to create that droplet effects. So there are a lot of sections here. Just use just use the sequence too, and there are a lot of functions we don't need. So we can just reduce the number itself to maybe 250, so there will be lesser particles. You can increase later. And here you can see in the render mode, just in the render mode select the emitter. So we don't need this emitter, this glass outer area should be don't rendered in the final. So there will be some option here also. You can see none path object, select the object itself. So the particle should be our custom object, and there is one option called duplicate object. So select that and see where is our sphere. So this is our sphere. Select that will add our droplets. Now the problem is, you can see now it fills the whole bottle, and you can see our water droplets is inside also. We can fix it later. And see, now you can have something called size. So just decrease the size a little bit, so we can have the actual water droplets, maybe a little bit also, and also random size increase a little bit in order to see. So we have the water droplets itself, and inside, see, you can see now a lot of particles, not a lot, every particles, every droplets are penetrating with the mesh itself. We can fix by selecting our actual I forgot where. Okay, in second layer, see, we have something like this. So our objects are like this, our water droplets are like this. If we want our object should be out of this. We need to fix the pivot or the origin of this object. So press 1 so we can see now that the sphere have the pivot or the origin at the center of its mass or the boundary box. We need to fix it to the outer. I just told you that all the dynamic objects are calculated, or that instance objects are calculated based on the x-axis. So we need to move this pivot to the or the origin to the minus x-axis. In order to get that, just move this 3D cursor to here. I'm just using my mouse option. Click here, we just like this, and use the origin and origin to 3D cursor. So something happened here, we can see what's happening. So there is having some problem itself. Now our objects not behaving like what we need. So once again press 1, just move the cursor like here, just origin to 3D cursor, and see still there is no movements for our object. That simply they are behaving with actual itself, and this is because if I just press 1 and move the cursor here and origin to the 3D cursor, see now there is a lot of movements is occurring based on this object or the pivot. Our mesh is changing. If you clearly watch, this object is now sitting at this edge, and if I change the pivot somewhere here or the origin somewhere here and origin to 3D cursor, see now the object is changing according to this origin. So that is a theory behind this instance. So in the origin, just make sure you have to the origin to center of mass, and if you want our object should be out of this box or this our actual mesh, we need to go to edit mode. So we have our object like this, simply move like this. So you can see now what's happening. You can move like this or like this. See, now we can just move it towards outer section or inner like this. So that is the best option to get like this, so you can get a live feedback, but it is not the technique I'm not using for this. So I'm doing this. Okay, so it should be in the center, and now the problem is that it is not actual droplets. We need to get it to look like actual drops. Actual drop should not be a sphere in any sticky surface. It should be a half sphere. So we need to make it half sphere. Don't delete anything. Now I'm just going to rotate in edit mode in x-axis. So just press R and x90, and now you can see our actual object is rotated with like the x-axis. So we have our object facing like this, and we can just make sure we are editing this section only. So in the vertices mode, select this vertex, and here you can see, search for once again saying and select this area proportion editing and press enable, and simply select click near transform, and you can see a round selection. Just scroll your middle mouse up and down, and you can just increase the size, and left click also move it like this, like maybe like this. so you will get perfect, sorry, do that, perfect sphere, not perfect half sphere. So press once again, just moving. So I think it's too much like this. Okay, and see, now the problem is we just moved the wrong side. You can just rotate it in minus degree. So press again, E R X 180. Okay, so still now you can see our objects having some kind of water droplets. We need to tweak these water drops again. So in order to get that, now you see our origin is still here. So maybe in 3 view, and you can see still the origin is at here. So we need to make our origin should be here. So press right click here, jump back to object mode, and select the origin to 3D cursor. Now now we have something like this, and also we need to change something, also some tick also, I think a little bit inside origin to 3D cursor. So now it's just touching the bottle. Make sure you have the actual itself, and see now 3D cursor is here, and just make sure have that actual right place. Okay, and one more thing, we need to scale it a little bit down. So press scale in y-axis, something like a little bit flattened water drops. Okay, now we have some similar water drops. You can create actual water drops by sculpting as many as you can. Just create a different kind of water drops and make sure they are grouped together, and you can just simply instance the group here. So I'm just using, okay, now we have our water droplets, and now we can just change its size and number, and just using number to default back to 1000 and scale size to 0.12, sorry, not 0.1, 0.012. So we have a lot of water drops. I can just make some seed value, so it can be any kind of effects. Just for a static water droplets, this is enough. And also there is some, no, there won't be any settings here. Just make sure you selected your every object's lighting here also, and we don't need the second layer. I think we can just use all this, and see, just save the scene file, save as a lot of saves file here, and just using glass bottle water drop lights static. We'll be creating that actual moving or dynamic water loops in the next tutorial. Just press render. See, now we have the actual water droplets. You can create different shaped water droplets if you want more realism. Just make sure if you have any visible overlapping, just do some adjust the seed segments here. That is the best part. Or you can just add some texture for creating the actual distribution of these water droplets. That will be discussed on the later tutorial. Now this is the end of this section. I'm just wiping this section.